Chapter 22. We must now understand the particular inter-inclusions of the 10 Sefirot of the world of Atzilut, emanation. However, we must first explain the specifics of the matter of the subdivision of the Sefirot into 10 and 10 into 10, etc. For example, Chesed of Chokhmah, kindness of insight, also divides into 10, and likewise Gevurah of Chokhmah, sternness of insight, divides into 10, etc. For, as known, Chokhmah, insight, includes 10 Sefirot in it. An example is Chesed and Gevurah of Chokhmah, kindness and sternness of insight, which are the intellectual leanings either towards merit or towards judgment. Now, Chesed of Chokhmah, which is the intellectual leaning towards merit, also includes 10 Sefirot within it. This is like Chesed and Gevurah as they are within Chesed of Chokhmah, so that there is an intellectual leaning toward merit in a specific manner and also an intellectual imperative toward judgment in a specific manner. For although merit will be overturned to culpability within the quality of judgment of Chokhmah, and culpability will be overturned to merit within kindness of Chokhmah, this is only so as the quality exists in its essence, wherein there are no subdivisions. However, as it is in a state of subdivisions, of the 10 subdividing into 10, etc., it is possible for the aspect of judgment to even be within kindness of insight, Chesed of Chokhmah, and for the aspect of kindness to be within the judgment of insight, Din of Chokhmah, as known. Similarly, the actual emotional Sefirot of Chesed and Gevurah themselves are also divided into the 10 Sefirot, Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, and the emotions, etc. For although it was stated we do not exercise mercifulness during judgment, this was said in regard to the essential judgment. Similarly, there is no judgment in the essential attribute of kindness. However, as they spread forth from the essence to become composites, there is kindness in judgment and judgment in kindness, as mentioned above. Now, there is a type of inter-inclusion called the nullification of a thing to its opposite which opposes it, in which it becomes just like its opposite. This is like the concept of the sweetening of the judgments, Gevurot, within the kindnesses, Chasadim. For example, this is like when the prosecutor transforms to become a defender, or the opposite, when the defender transforms to become a prosecutor. Similarly, it is like the sweetening of bitter waters in sweet waters, or the opposite. Likewise, it is like the nullification of an intellectual reasoning for merit into an intellectual reasoning for culpability, or the like. These are all examples of true inter-inclusion, which is only possible because the opposition itself latently possesses its opposite power. If this was not the case, it would be impossible for it to become nullified to it. For example, sweetness possesses a latent bitterness, and bitterness possesses a latent sweetness. By way of analogy, an example of this is a culinary dish called merkachat, which is made from honey cooked with radishes. This creates a delightful taste, which includes sharpness and sweetness together as one, as known. Similarly, there is something of the nature of fire in water and something of the nature of water in fire. Because of this, there can be an inter-inclusion of fire with water or water with fire. As stated, he took water from fire and fire from water, etc. This principle likewise applies to the emotions of Chesed, kindness, and Gevurah, judgment. Because there is judgment in kindness and kindness in judgment, as mentioned above, therefore judgment may be nullified within kindness, or vice versa, kindness may be nullified within judgment. If this were not so, there could never be an inter-inclusion of one thing with its opposite. However, there is another type of inter-inclusion of judgment with kindness which comes about specifically because it is essentially similar to it, rather than being negated by it. On the contrary, in such a case, it actually gives additional strength and force to its opposite. Nonetheless, it is called Gevurah of Chesed, sternness of kindness, or the reverse, Chesed of Gevurah, kindness of judgment, in that it strengthens the sternness and judgment. As known, this matter is comparable to the verse, "If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink, for in doing so you shall heap coals of fire upon his head," etc. This is to say that with this kindness and goodness he perpetrates complete malevolence and judgment upon his enemy by destroying his soul. Similarly, it states, he, God, pays his enemies up front in order to destroy them. This is likewise the case in any aspect of judgment and retribution which is done through the aspect of kindness. This kindness gives much greater strength and force to the judgment and is called Chesed of Gevurah, kindness of judgment. This is like the verse, "And Hashem shall cause his glorious voice to be heard," in the camp of Sancherev. Similarly, The opposite is true of the aspect of Gevurah, of Chesed, sternness of kindness. That is, there will be a much greater strength and force in an act of kindness which is done through the quality of judgment. An example of this is the Gvurot Geshamim, the strength of the rains, which comes in a constricted fashion. This is in order that they should come forth with abundance. This is similar to the Tzimtzum, constriction of any light of influence so that it may be received by the recipient. This principle also applies to the divisions of the 72 bridges and likewise to the afflictions of love as stated, for Hashem reproves him whom he loves, even as a father disciplines the son in whom he delights. That is, the kindness is specifically actualized through a garment of the quality of judgment. It is specifically this type of expression of kindness which brings out the strength and force of the kindness even more than the expression of the essential kindness. This is similar to the statement, he precedes the cure to the affliction, and as stated, for he has torn and he will heal us. He has smitten and he will bind us up. Now at first glance, why is the affliction necessary altogether? However, through the healing one becomes healthier and stronger than at first. This is because sickness is the aspect of harsh judgment. It is remedied by means of the quality of the judgment in the kindness, i.e. medicine, which is made up of harsh substances. This principle applies to the sweetening of every judgment. It takes place specifically in its essential source. That is, it is specifically by means of the judgment in the kindness, din sheba chesed, because it is the strength of the kindness that is what is required to overpower the judgment and sweeten it. This will suffice for those of understanding. Through all of the above, the inter-inclusions of Chesed and Gevurah and the particular ways of how they inter-include may be understood in that every Gevurah of Chesed may be inter-included with Chesed of Gevurah. This holds true even though they may be two extreme opposites, such as in a case in which one is potent kindness, Chesed, and one is potent judgment, Gevurah. Moreover, they are certainly opposites in that they are expressed within exchanged and opposing garments in which one actualizes a judgment and one actualizes a kindness. Nonetheless, since each one is specifically an actualization for something which is its opposite, i.e. Gevurah of Chesed actualizes judgment, but its inner motivation is kindness, and Chesed of Gevurah actualizes kindness, but its innermost motivation is judgment. Therefore, specifically because of this, they can come together as one, since each one includes and, at the very least, indicates these two opposites. This may be illustrated by the fact that it was the angel Gavriel who offered to save Avraham, and similarly by the fact that it was Gavriel who cooled the coals. This comes from the aspect of the Gevurah in the Chesed. Similarly, a good heavy sweet eliminates the illness of high fever, like the above-mentioned fact that harsh medications heal afflictions. Furthermore, it was he, Gavriel, who smote the camp of Sancherev in an aspect of Chesed which is in Gevurah, as stated, the angel of Hashem went out and smote in the camp of Ashur, etc., as known. This will suffice for those of understanding. This, then, is the meaning of the statement to include the left in the right and the right in the left. This is similar to the light of Chesed in a vessel of Gevurah, wherein the vessel actualizes the opposite of its light. That is, the vessel of Gevurah actualizes judgment, which is the opposite of the light of kindness which is in it. The reverse is also true. A vessel of Chesed may actualize kindness, which is the opposite of the light of Gevurah which is in it. However, this is not at all a contradiction, since this phenomenon is the aspect of lights and vessels which is related to the matter of form and substance, as will be explained later. This is in accordance to that which is explained elsewhere regarding the matter of the inter-inclusions of the name of 72 and the name of 42, which are the first two paragraphs of the Shema recital. Another example of this principle is the fact that the binding of Yitzchak was done by Avraham, the epitomal man of kindness. This is likewise the case in regard to the waving of the Levites, who became included within the kindnesses of the Kohanim. This is as stated, bring your brethren also of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, bring them near to you, so that they may join to you and minister to you. Why is it possible for them to serve their opposites? There are many other examples of this as well. Now, all of this is possible only because of the aspect of the subdivisions which exist in each sephirah. Therefore, a kind finds its kind and become awakened, even when the two are literally opposites. This is similar to the matter of the differences between Michael and Gavriel, the angels of fire and water. Nonetheless, they do not extinguish each other, as it states, He makes peace in His high places. This is specifically because each one latently possesses something of its opposite. However, in regard to the completely simple essential lights, such as the aspect of Nukudot, points, which are called Ktarim, crowns, it is impossible for them to become inter-included whatsoever. This is because each one is completely different from the other, and nothing of its opposite can be found in it altogether. An example of this is the essential aspect of goodness, which is in the essence of the soul of a good person and is called the depth of goodness. In no way can it compromise with the essential evil, which is called the depth of evil. Only in true penitence, Baalei Teshuvah, do we find that even the essence of evil has been transformed into goodness so much so that their transgressions themselves become counted as merits. This is because they give themselves over with complete self-sacrifice to the essential self of the infinite light, Atzmut or Ein Sof, which itself is beyond even the essential differences between Chesed, kindness, and Gevurah, judgment. Therefore, it is specifically through giving ourselves over to Hashem with complete self-sacrifice that we are capable of praying and saying, "May it be desirable in Hashem's essential self, i.e. before you," etc. Similarly, regarding the 13 attributes of mercy, it states, "And Hashem passed before him and proclaimed, Hashem, Hashem, benevolent and gracious God," etc., thus transforming even essential judgment into kindness, as will be explained concerning the matter of the 13 fixtures of the beard. This will suffice for those of understanding. This subdivision and inter-inclusion comes about by means of the aspects of the kav v'chut, the line and thread, which possesses something of the power of the essential self of the infinite light, literally. This is in accordance to the statement of our sages, one must pray to him alone and not to his qualities, not even to his essential qualities. All of this will be explained with Hashem's help. This will suffice for those of understanding.